This is the motor power inverter. And the very first thing I'm gonna tell you about it, it is super heavy. OMG, I was not ready for this part to be heavy. I would have assumed that the battery pack would be massively heavy, which I think it is, but this bad boy is hefty. So what does it do? Well, first, I'm gonna let you listen to Elise's explanation when she did the EV deep dive video, and then we're gonna break it down and tell you what this bad boy does, and then in future videos, we're gonna look at individual components, and then we're gonna probably take some stuff apart. This is very intense, and I'm super excited. All right, let's hear that description.
Now, we need to discuss how the information about torque and the battery state of charge gets to the motors. It is relayed from the IPU by the motor power inverter. The motor power inverter sits below the center console and is liquid cooled. It contains a power module, gate drive circuit, capacitor, and temperature sensor. Not only does it convert the DC of the battery into the three-phase current of the motor, and reverse, but it also communicates information via three-phase cables that are sheathed in orange aluminum pipe. These cables connect the IPU subjunction board to the MPI, the IPU DC-DC converter to the underhood fuse/relay box, and the IPU subjunction board to the electric AC compressor.
So I'm gonna tell you guys a couple of attributes and characteristics of this unit. First off, this runs in the middle of the car, right in the middle, and it makes sense because it's so heavy. I'm gonna tell you right now, it's backwards as you see it. This is the front and this is the back, and this literally takes the power from the battery, the high voltage power, and then it converts it to three-phase alternating current. So we have DC, which is direct current, and it is being inverted and converted into three-phase alternating current in order for it to run the motors, which is super cool. So this has a big job. Not only does it do that, but it has a secondary, really important job where whenever the car is doing brake regenerating, it takes that AC current and then it converts it back to DC and it works it through the system. Now, you would assume that this part already has a huge responsibility to do all that, but it also has some other minor but major responsibilities where it tells you the battery status, it tells you the current condition of the charging, which is awesome, and there's a lot going on. Now, if you follow our video with the junction box of the DC to DC converter, which we essentially call it the new version of the alternator, you saw those orange cables where they was considered high voltage. Look at these bad boys. These are no joke. And these cables are literally what's supplying the voltage for the motors to run, which is absolutely crazy. This is literally the gas, which of course is power, electricity, for those EV motors to run. Where in our traditional engine, we need, the combustion process. This is right here where everything's happening. And it's super cool because you got to think about the technology that's going on. You got to think about how we're taking different types of electricity, converting it and making it usable for those actual motors. Now, in our future videos, what are we gonna do? We're gonna get extra nerdy. If you saw our first video, we went part to part. We talked about high voltage fuses and relays and connectors. This time around, we've got some fluid stuff in here. This is cooled by coolant. And then we have some definitely high voltage stuff. We have some connectors. And some of these things, we're gonna see if we can open it up. We know that there's some capacitors in there and hopefully they're already discharged. So we're definitely gonna have to be a little extra more careful around this part because there's some extra stuff going on. Here at Drivers Therapy, we bought this for you guys. And in the future, I'm gonna tell you ahead of time, if you guys wanna buy this, just let us know because when we're done making our videos, we're happy to sell this bad boy to whoever might actually need it. So keep that in mind if you know anyone who will need this. We're buying this to make the educational videos for you guys, and it is literally the first ever for the NC1. All right, guys, stay tuned for the second video where we're gonna start breaking down individual components. We appreciate you watching. You take care, and we'll talk to you soon.